Hey, last week we were talking about Death Row, and you mentioned an album that I completely forgot about that was called Too Gangsta for Radio.
Man.
And I went and looked it up. It's definitely in the Death Row catalog. I believe it is currently in the Death Row catalog.
Oh, okay.
So this would be an album that will be owned by you know who if his deal goes all the way through.
Right.
This will be Snoop's album.
Exactly.
At some point in the future, but this album is actually quite incredible. It came out in September of 2000, and it is just a compilation of everybody who was somebody back then.
Oh, no doubt, man. And all the artists that was cracking back then, from Crooked Eye to the Relatives was on it. You know, CJ Mack was on it. You know, it was a lot of hitters on there. But my favorite one was Gangstered Out. And I believe that was K9 that rocked that one, man. I remember playing that one back to back many a times along with the Relatives. You know, This Is the Thanks You Get. But that Gangstered Out, it just had a catchy tune to it, man. And I used to rock that one.
Now, did K9 actually go out and do his own album as well? Did he have other music out?
I'm not certain about that. I know he was on other people's albums, and I heard him, on other songs, but I don't know if he ever put his own solo album out. I'm not sure about that. I'm going to have to check into that.
Now, I kind of listened to most of these songs, and I was actually vibing off of Tupac's song called Thug Nature because he was using Michael Jackson's sample of Human Nature. Tell him that it's human nature. Yeah. But he turned that into a Thug Nature song, and I was like, okay. And then there's another Pac song on here, which is called Friends. And he actually dissed Jay-Z in that song. But what's funny is that I'm listening to the song, and he's talking about 1996, and they put this out in 2000. We all know he got killed in 96.
Right.
So I guess this is one of those songs that was in the vault that Pac had recorded.
No doubt.
That I guess Lil Reg decided to put on this when they put this out in 2000.
Yeah, they put that album out, man. I remember they did it, and it came out pretty decent. You know, like I said, I bought it, you know what I mean, to listen to it, and I wasn't disappointed.
Now, the song on here there's actually a song called Fuck Dre.
Damn.
And it was done by The Realist. The Realist was sort of like a dude that sounded just like Pac, but he
I remember him.
He was skillful, though.
He was. You know, I just think they got caught up in the wrong time, you know, and their music didn't get pushed out like it should. But I remember being in the studio with most of them cats.
Is that right?
Yeah, I remember The Realist. I remember Crooked Eye. I remember all them dudes when they was coming up through the ranks. Eastwood was on the label back then. You know, so I remember a lot of songs that we didn't hear on the radio that those guys, had going, so.
Now, on this Fuck Dre song, they had The Realist, they had a dude named Swoop G, Twist, and Lil C-Style from Long Beach. But in this song, it was just pretty much a diss against everybody. They was dissing Dre. They said Eminem killer, Aftermath killer. And I guess this was a result of Dre was left Death Row. And I guess everyone who's on Death Row is programmed to be anti-Dre.
No doubt, and you could hear it on this album, definitely. You know what I mean? They definitely dissed quite a few people, but they was rocking the West Coast at the time, you know what I mean? And some of them remember the beef with the East and the West, you know what I mean? And the West was feeling that, it was cats that came up, felt the obligation to diss them dudes over there. Some of them didn't even know what the real reason was. They just knew that the West and the East was at it, so, let me make my song diss in the East,
Yeah, definitely. This is a good, West Coast lineup, but check this out. There's also Ja Rule was on a song here. He's from New York. Yeah, a song called Murder for Life. Then they had The Lox.
I was going to say, I think The Lox was on the song.
Yeah, the Lox is on the track here. And there's a couple other people. But another song that kind of stood out to me was this Project song by Swoop G, Keita Rock, and Juice. I was unfamiliar that Keita Rock actually rapped.
Yeah, he jumped on the mic every now and then.
You knew Keita Rock was a rapper?
I mean, I ain't gonna call him a rapper, but he did rap, And speaking of Keita Rock, I really think he was at the helm of this whole project right here. I think that kind of went through him, and he kind of directed a lot of songs and put that together. If I'm almost certain that he did. And but yeah, I didn't heard about him getting up in the booth a little bit here and there and doing a little something.
And for those listening around the world who probably don't know who the heck we're talking about, Keita Rock, he's a well-known Rolling 60s here in Los Angeles. And it was just unfamiliar to me that he was actually a rapper too. But this song was interesting because it's called Projects, and they were naming projects, but they were naming some buildings weren't projects, like the Wilmington Arms.
Right. I mean, are they not projects?
It's because it's privately owned. It's not like city owned. City owns are the project. So you got Nickerson Gardens. That's project.
Right. You got Jordan Downs. You got project PJ Watts.
Imperial Courts. But Wilmington Arms is a privately owned apartment. It's basically a large apartment complex.
I got you, but we still call it a project.
We can call it a project. But check this out. They also said the Jungles.
No, the Jungle's not projects.
The Jungles is a collection of close 2-story apartment buildings, all boxed in with each other.
There's a lot of them too.
Yeah, so the Jungles was mentioned on that one, Wilmington Arms, but yeah, the Jordan Downs and the Nickerson Gardens and Imperial Courts are definitely LA's top projects. But you know what else? I also heard one of the lines. I don't know who said it, but one of the dudes said, "Yeah, I pulled up in the Pueblos, but then I saw my boy Stutterbox." Now, Stutterbox is a brother that I've interviewed from the Pueblos a couple times, and I've actually scheduled to interview him next weekend. Mm-hmm. But I just tripped out that his name was mentioned in that song.
And that was what, 96?
No, this is now these songs. Some of these songs were recorded in 99, 2000 for this. Okay. But the Pac songs are obviously old.
96, yeah.
But yeah, I would actually invite anybody who's unfamiliar with this compilation album to go check it out and listen to it. Other people who are on here are the Relatives. They up out of Inglewood, right?
No doubt. And that was one song I used to bump that one too. This is a Thanks You Get, and him and the Relative and Nuts was actually on that song, and yeah, I used to bump that one too.
And then you also have some. Let's see. Here's some of the other artists: Mac Sean, who I'm unfamiliar with. Mm-hmm. K9, as you mentioned. Dresta, who was from that group with what's his name from Nutty Block? Oh gosh,
who was it? BG Knockout.
BG Knockout. Yeah. I believe that's his brother or cousin.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
They've been going in on him on the internet.
Yeah,
we'll leave that alone. But I had to at least say that.
What song was CJ Mack on?
CJ Mack is on the one.
Because I might have to go pull that up on the way home, man. Because I'm a huge CJ Mack fan, man. Ever since I listened to that Platinum Gang.
Look at the top of the list. I Ain't Fucking With Ya, performed by CJ Mack.
Okay, yeah. And
then Above the Law was also on here. Remember Above the Law from back in the day?
Hutch them, yeah.
And then The Realist is on a couple of tracks. So yeah, I think this song is definitely worth a listen. And in terms of the producers, QD3, that's Quincy Jones' son.
Right.
A brother I've run into him several times over the years. He was known for the DVD's Beef.
I wonder whatever happened to Swoop G.
Man,
do you remember that name?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I remember him. He was around back then.
What about Twist? And I know Lil C Style. I know who Lil C Style is.
Right.
I don't know Twist or Swoop G.
I don't know none of them dudes. I didn't hear much out of them after that.
So you mentioned Big Hutch.
Yeah,
he produced
Hutch and them from the Outlaws.
He produced that song.
I mean, not the Outlaw, Above the Law. Yeah.
Okay, he produced that song. Kurt Cobain, who just he popped up on a couple of YouTube videos. He produced the Fuck Dre song. And who else? That's all I can think of. But
I see Daz on there as a producer.
Definitely, Daz. Daz is on. No, that nigga Daz.
Oh, but right. But it's another producer on here I used to love back in the day. That was Ant Banks.
Okay.
And man, out of Oakland. Well, I can't say Oakland, out the Bay. I don't know exactly what city he was. I don't want to get it mixed up. But and Banks used to have hits back then.
So man. Go ahead.
He used to be on a lot of songs with. He did a lot of songs for Too Short and E40 and all those guys. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think I did listen to that
Ant
one.
Banks? Yeah.
Anthony Banks is actually his name. So yeah, I recommend this album for a lot of people who like to hear the vibe, the death row. It's got a little bit of a death row vibe, even though it's post Suge, it's post Pac, it's post Snoop Dogg. And, Snoop Dogg is gone, Dre is gone. But it's definitely worth a listen. Thanks for watching this video clip of Streets and Scholars podcast with Alex Alonso and FG. If you want to listen to the entire episode, go to your favorite podcast platform and type in Streets and Scholars. But we're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. And thanks for listening to another episode of Streets and Scholars.